So, I saw Batman v Superman the other day. It's a thing. I didn't hate it. And can't really say I liked it. It's not a good movie. There's some stuff in there that works. And the stuff that works really well too. I mean, wow to the stuff that works. But oh God. Oh man, guys, this movie's a mess. It's Before I get into what doesn't work, which is a lot, let's cover a few things that do work, that work really well. Let's start with the actors. Start with Ben Affleck. Genius casting here. I think is tied with Kevin Conroy for my personal favorite Batman. If you want to say actors who have portrayed him on screen physically, then he's my favorite. Right up there with Michael Keaton, but I just Michael Keaton out ever so slightly. I'm not gonna say his material was great. Some of it was good. Some of it not. Some of it really not. But some of it was really good. So you know what? His performance in this makes me want to see the solo Batman movie that he's directing. I look forward to that. If they can fix some of the problems that are here, that are mainly to do with the script, a little bit to do with characterization, I'm all for it. Bring it on. I think he did really well in this. I think he can kick ass in the next one. Newcomer number 2. Jeremy Irons as Alfred. Again, genius casting. He's fantastic in this. He's got that dry wit that you expect from Alfred. He's got that down pat. He's half mechanic in here too, and that works really well. Not even overall, just right there, he's fantastic. He's really good in the role. Again, he's not given a lot of meat, but for who Alfred is and who they need him to be, fantastic, wonderful. And then you have Gal Gadot. She is by far the best part of this movie. Every scene she's in, she seals. And when you finally see her as Wonder Woman, not Diana Prince, but as Wonder Woman, wow. That's all I can say. All I can say is wow. She brings energy to this movie that's sorely missing. And she smiles. You don't see a lot of smiling in this movie. Everyone's all dour and grim. Let's see. I think Clark and Lois smile once in the bathtub scene, which is a really awkward and weird scene, but they smile in it. Martha Kent smiles when... Does she? Yes, when Bruce Wayne saves her, she smiles. And she tells a bit of a joke, too. And Gal Gadot smiles when she's fighting. And it's fantastic. It's great. The whole Doomsday fight scene, she is mesmerizing. My wife was looking up the Wonder Woman theme song from the movie. And someone wrote down in the YouTube comments, the moment, I believe it was, this is the moment where Batman and Superman became sidekicks. Glorious. So, to recap. Ben Affleck, Jeremy Irons, Gal Gadot. Genius casting. Really great, fantastic, wonderful. What else is there? Well, other things that I like the fight sequences. Some of the fights are really cool. The warehouse fight that we've seen in the third trailer, that was great. That was fantastic. That was wonderful. I loved it. It was okay. I didn't love it. There were some bits of it that were kind of suspect, shall we say. At one point, someone tries to shoot Batman, so he grabs the guy's arm and he sprays the machine gun fire away from himself. Pretty sure he killed some motherfuckers right there. He definitely crippled a few people. Probably got put a number of people in traction. And then at the very end, some guys got a flamethrower aimed at Martha Kent. And instead of Batman trying to figure out some way to save her or take him out without killing him, he just throws battering at the gas tank, and there's this huge explosion. I mean, ridiculously huge. I mean, I'm pretty sure that took out at least half of the people who were on the floor in agony after Batman beat the shit out of them. But it was an overall really good fight. I mean, Batman's flipping and flying all over the place. He's breaking bones. I mean, he must have at least broken a couple of faces too. He's using his gadgets as well. You ever see Batman really use his gadgets in these movies, at least as far as the fights go. He uses them here, and he uses them to great effect. It's really wonderful, and it's probably the standout scene in the entire movie. I mean, you're waiting for the movie to get some sort of energy and momentum. Well, it's right there. Something else that worked, the very beginning. The very start of this movie is great. You have a flashback to Bruce Wayne's parents dying, and then a funeral, and it's all actually flashback / dream sequence, which I can do without. We all know that the Batman were destroyed by this point, so they very quickly retreaded. Very quickly. I will give Zack Snyder this. He does know his visuals. He really does. And you get some great visuals, especially with the pearl necklace, which is, one of the staples of the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne. So, you know what? I'll give him props for that. Did some interesting stuff with that scene. And then it really opens with Bruce Wayne charging into Metropolis because he sees this big throwdown that's going on. Because the movie, after that flashback, that stream sequence, it opens up during the final confrontation between Batman, Zod, and Man of Steel, where they're flying through buildings and shit, and everyone, all the viewers are thinking, well, why isn't he leading this shit away from here? This is making damn sense. Well, at the very least, there's some payoff to that, because one of Bruce Wayne's towers comes crumbling down, and Bruce is calling, he's saying, get everyone out, and he's driving like a madman to get there. And you know what? It's compelling. Part of it doesn't really make sense, because you think these people would be in this area, they'd see this big doomsday device going off and killing everything, and you think they get the fuck out. But no, they wait until Bruce Wayne gives them a call to give them the okay. I don't know, I don't get it. Regardless, beside the point. The point is, Bruce Wayne charging through the city, driving like a madman, is awesome. It's seriously really cool. It's one of the best parts of the movie. And then, of course, there's the titular throwdown, if you will. Batman versus Superman. And that fight was really cool, too. It's been a long time since I read Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, but this movie definitely borrows, for better or worse, borrows a lot from Frank Miller's work. Especially that. And I've heard that throwdown, that final fight between Batman and Superman really borrows a lot from Frank Miller's work. Either way, it is really good. It is nice to see Batman, again, he's using his gadgets, he's using his brain. He obtains some kryptonite, he steals it from Lex Luthor, and he imbues his own weaponry with it. So he's got some smoke bombs that are kryptonite laced, he has a kryptonite tipped spear that he doesn't really use until the very end of the fight. And he's using this stuff to really good effect. He's got this, you've seen that bulky body armor he's wearing that for that confrontation. And it's a really good fight. It's brutal. These two are pummeling each other something fierce. It's really cool. I'll give you credit. I'll give Zack Snyder credit. That was really cool. It's a shame that everything else in between isn't. And we were talking about the actors before. Let's continue with that thread. Let's look at Jesse Eisenberg. Oh, God. I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, you know? So I was willing to say, maybe he's going to be good. Maybe the advertisements are not indicative of his full performance. I'm funny. I'm really funny when I want to be. Because the advertisements don't lie. That's completely indicative of his entire performance. Oh, God. He plays him like some sort of neurotic, manic, mental case. He's a nut. He has these weird tics, these weird mannerisms, this almost cartoony nature. He's not very compelling. He's not even very suave or businesslike or charming. I mean, Christ, Lex Luthor at least is charming to some extent. This guy, my baby finger, my pinky right here, this little sucker right here. You see that? You see that? That's got more charm in it than he has in this entire movie. Oh, God. Just look up Lex Luthor. Look up Lex Luthor on Wikipedia. You've got a savvy businessman. He knows how to manipulate people. He's suave. I assume he's suave. I always thought of Lex Luthor as being kind of suave. But there's something about him that's appealing. There's nothing appealing about this little geez, I don't even have a word to describe him. I call him a jerk, but he's just crazy. Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Oh, God. And then, you know what the thing is? All the problems with this movie, all of them they start and they end with Lex. They do. The whole conflict is his plan. He's manipulating everybody. Oh, and in the end, it doesn't work very well. That's a problem. Oh boy, and to keeping in with the whole Lex Luthor is the biggest problem with this movie bit. Why he hates Superman, his motivation for hating Superman. It's not there. We have something to do with gods and demons. I'm guessing maybe he wants to kill Superman because Superman is like a false god or something, or isn't as benevolent as he's trying to be. Maybe. Honestly, I've heard this mentioned somewhere before, one of the reviews that I watched, and it's true. You'd think Lex would be all over Superman. You'd think Lex would be, hey man, Superman's not a bad guy. Why? Because Superman got him all these contracts to help rebuild the metropolis. If anything, Lex should be trying to get Supes on his side. And he doesn't. Oh, he doesn't. Oh, God. It hurts. But Lex isn't the only character with issues. Lois Lane, people. I introduce to you Lois Lane, the most useless character in this movie. Absolutely, by far. She's there for one purpose only, to get constantly saved by Superman. It's such a trope at this point that Lex acknowledges if she's ever in danger, Superman's gonna come and find her. He pushes her off a building to make his point. Superman, of course, swoops in and rescues her. I'm really not sure how he knew where she was. He was long out of the city at this point of the story. This is near the end of the movie. So Lois Lane is just a superfluous character. There's a plot dealing with... Oh, it's so hard to remember because it was so disconnected from everything else. something about the Middle East. She's in the Middle East at the very beginning of the movie. We've seen the clips of it. She's there to interview a warlord, and she almost gets killed, and Superman comes in and saves her. And the whole reason she almost gets killed is because Lex has planted people there to shoot other people and get Superman blamed for something. I'm not entirely sure what. It was really convoluted, and it didn't even need to be there. It really doesn't hold any bearing on the overall plot. It's kind of there to start some hearings. It's there to try to discredit Superman. But if anything, they should be investigating what happened back when Zod was there, and the damage and destruction Superman caused during that. And that brings me to another issue. Am I done with Lois? Useless, only there to get saved. Her only plot point is just so. Oh, yeah, right. I was getting to. I got sidetracked. Sorry, I was getting to something there. That plot there, that whole terrorist warlord thing. That's only there so she can do something other than get saved. So that she can investigate these weird bullets. I don't know. I've never seen these bullets before. And they tie back to Lex Luthor. And it feels like it's only there just so she can do something else. It's not integral to the rest of the movie. It feels tacked on. This movie's a mess, guys. It really is. Another problem this movie has is it introduces interesting topics of discussion, goes nowhere with them. Nowhere. There's the question about, is Superman the hero we need? There's question about, do we need him in this time? What can or can't he do? Should there be things he should or shouldn't do? A whole other questions that get posed in this movie, but never fully explored. Even Batman's vigilante justice, it's looked at here and there, but the question about is it good, is it bad, never really looked at. And even Superman's hatred of Batman, Batman's hatred of Superman, is really flimsy. Like, really flimsy. We've all seen the previews. Batman has seen the destruction that Superman has wrought, and he figures, you know what, if there's even the smallest chance that this guy could go rogue and just fuck everything up, we have to take it that will happen. So we have to stop him now. Really? Can't just, sit down and have a chat with him? World's greatest detective? And then, of course, there's Batman's vigilante justice that Superman hates. Because he's noticed that, Batman has started branding people with his batarangs, and those people who get branded get killed while in jail. And that's bad. Okay, I'll give you that. But you hate him because of that? You want to stop him because of that? I don't know, man. I really think you're stretching it here. You could just sit down and talk to him. And that's the problem. These two don't just want to sit down and talk. They just want to beat the shit out of each other. Ugh, God, it's such a painful, painful thing. It's not even because they have opposing viewpoints or they have opposing styles. It's just, I hate you, let's fight, okay. Ugh, God damn it. And you know what? Let's bring up another point. Let's bring another point of contention for me is the preamble to the Superman-Batman fight. Now, the fight itself is fantastic. It's really good. I'm not sure I would change anything about it. But the preamble up to that fight, it just boggles me. It really does. To convince Superman to go off and fight Batman, Lex Luthor has kidnapped Superman's mother. I mentioned that before. She gets kidnapped. He's holding her hostage to make Superman go and beat the fuck out of Batman, with the hope of that Batman will kill Superman. Yeah, I know, but a little bit convoluted, right? It gets worse. So when Superman gets there in Gotham, because they're practically across the street. They're both port towns, and so one's on one side of the lake, the other's on the other side of the lake. That's how this one works. That's how it works in this universe. So Superman goes to confront Batman, and they don't talk. He tries talking, but within about 2 minutes, if less, gives up. And that's the problem here. Either there are a couple of traps that Batman sets for him, but in the end, it's Superman who throws the first punch. Where Superman had decided, dude, chill out, calm the fuck down. Lex Luthor has my mom. He's gonna kill my mom if we don't do something. I really don't think Batman would let Martha Kent get sacrificed. Get killed, get murdered. I said I don't hate this movie. I don't. That's the weird part. I don't like it though. But I don't have a full hard hate for it. Another thing I'm not too keen on is Batman's killing ways. I mean, he killed that dude with the flamethrower. I'm pretty sure he killed a few other people in that warehouse fight. There's this chase scene through the city when Batman's trying to get some kryptonite that Lex Luthor brought into the city. He snuck it in because he wasn't given the permits for it. So Batman's trying to steal it, and that whole chase. Ugh, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get to the sorry part of that later, but I'm pretty sure he kills some guys. I'm pretty sure because of the shooting he's doing out of his machine guns on his Batmobile. Pretty sure a few people got killed. I'm 100% on that, and because this is actually what I was about to say a moment or two ago. This chase is so hard to follow. It's just fucking ridiculous. Okay? There is so much lens flare going on here. It's at night. Might have been raining. I'm not sure about that detail. And the headlights on these cars generate so much lens flare. It fills up so much of the screen, blocks so much of the action, that I was sitting there going, squinting at the screen going, I think that was cool. I'm not sure. It's impossible to follow. It's shot fairly well. I think it's edited pretty well, but because of the lens flare generated by the headlights, you can't see a fucking thing. It's ridiculous. Man, I really wanted to like this movie too. I tried to like this movie, but the more it went on, the less sense it made. Let's look at who dies. First, there's Jimmy Olsen, who in this edition isn't even fucking named. He's named in the extended R-rated cut. There's an R-rated cut of this. I'm not even sure if I can stomach that. So Jimmy Olsen dies during that whole kerfuffle in the Middle East. He's a CIA agent now. So Jimmy Olsen dies. Mercy Graves, Lex's pretty much bodyguard and right-hand person, she dies. He blows her up. The senator played by Holly Hunter, who is behind all the really good questions posed in this movie, she dies in the explosion that Mercy dies in. There's a former Wayne employee who is made out to be this very important figure in this movie's conflict. He gets blown up. in this very same explosion. One of Lex's hired goons, who features very prominently and whenever Lex needs something dirty done. He's the guy with the flamethrower. He gets killed. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm surprised Perry White lasted as long as he has so far. I'm surprised he's not dead yet, the way they've been killing people off. And this movie's so drab. I mean, I have no problems with DC trying to create their own style, their own look that's separate from the Marvel Universe. That's awesome. I applaud that. Go you guys. It's still a comic book movie. Comic books, generally speaking, are bright. They have color to them. This thing is so dark and drab. I mean, the colors are so muted. I know Wonder Woman's armor is red and gold. I've seen the pictures that actually show off the color. You can't tell in this, though. It all looks brown. Superman's suit doesn't pop. It's a very dull blue. I mean, well, Batman, he's Batman. He doesn't pop. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. Everything is so muted and drab that I swear to God, even the daytime shots feel almost like they were filmed in a really heavy smog day in Los Angeles. That's what this movie feels like from a visual, colorful standpoint. And I'm not saying that I want the movies to be bright and fun and silly. You can do dark, you can do grim, but the movie doesn't have to look lifeless. Look at the comic books. You want to use the comic books as your starting point? Do a Google search for Death of Superman. The comic where Doomsday appears, they fight, Superman dies in the fight, at the end of the fight. It all happens during the day, not at night in the fucking rain. And the colors are so vibrant. It's a sad, when Superman dies, it's sad, it's tragic. You get the feels, but there's so much color still on that page. There's life on, Superman's dead, yeah, but there's still a lot of life on that page. It looks really good. I mean, you can find it on Wikipedia, for crying out loud. The movie's missing that. It's missing that bright comic book element to it, that colorful comic book element to it. Instead, I feel like it doesn't even feel like Earth. And that's a problem. That's a problem with the visuals in this movie, is they're so drab and muted and brown and gray and dull. Ugh. Pisses me off just talking about it. But speaking of pissed off, let's talk about Doomsday. I don't want to. I really don't want to. I don't like Doomsday in this movie. I can't stand him in this movie. His presence is not needed. It's not required. But they put him in so they could kill Superman off. That's what it feels like, at least. This isn't the movie to kill Superman off in, by the way. You don't kill him off in his second movie, in which he's in only maybe half of it if you're lucky. That's wrong. It's wrong from multiple standpoints. But one of the biggest reasons why it's wrong is we've not been able to really connect with this Superman yet. The hell? I'm flabbergasted by their decision to do this. Give us maybe 3 movies. Give me at least 3 movies with Superman being Superman. 3 solo Superman movies. Then kill him off. I'm happy with that. Then you kill him. Obviously, you're going to bring him back to life because that was the arc in the Superman comics. Superman died, and then he got brought back. Everyone was happy. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the death and return of Superman being translated into movie form. Just not like this, not this soon. It's so clumsy, it's so telegraphed. But, I'm jumping a little bit ahead of myself here. Let's start off with the first thing about Doomsday that bothers me. His creation. The comics, it's really convoluted, but comic books tend to be, basically, from what I can remember from Wikipedia, I would say just look it up, but I got to make comparisons here. Someone was cloning a kid. Kid died. Okay, I'm going to collect the DNA material. I'm going to clone him and resurrect him. He died again. I'm going to keep doing this so that he evolves. It's sort of a forced evolution into a big ass killing machine. How is how's Doomsday created here? Well, Lex decides to use ancient Kryptonian technology and techniques, slices his hand and bleeds over the Zod's face, because he, A, thanks to a deal he made with the government, he, A, has access to Zod's crash ship, and B, has access to Zod's corpse. So he bleeds all over Zod's face, and he pushes him in and creates Doomsday somehow. I don't know how the fuck that creates Doomsday. It does. I realize a lot of stuff isn't going to make sense in a comic book movie. You just sometimes have to go with it. I can't go with this. I can't. I was hoping maybe there'd be some explanation, but there's nothing. Oh, there's nothing. Second thing I don't like about Doomsday. He muddies the plot. He muddies Lex Luthor's motivations. Here's why that doesn't work for me. Lex wants to kill Superman for some reason, so he manipulates Batman into wanting to kill Superman. But he creates Doomsday as a backup plan. But he, considering the technology he had, he must have known what he was doing and would have known that Doomsday would have been well nigh uncontrollable and probably unstoppable. So why were you creating him? I know you want to live, Lex. You want to live and make more money and be conniving and shit. So why? I've heard that this is supposed to be explored in further movies. It's Doomsday's creation and whatnot. I am still questioning this. His inclusion doesn't make any sense in this movie except to kill Superman. Those are my biggest beefs with Doomsday. Now, the final fight is kind of cool. It's kind of hard to follow, but it didn't need to happen. But before I get to that, what I find hilarious in this movie, last movie, in Man of Steel, people complained because Superman didn't try to lead the fight away from the city. So, I find this genuinely hilarious. As if to appease people, the writers decided, at one point, Superman takes Doomsday up into space, they hit them with a nuke, Doomsday absorbs that energy and plummets to the earth. He lands on an island. And the military guys actually come out and say he landed on this island. Fortunately, it's not inhabited. There's no one there. And then they figure, you know what? This thing can't be killed by conventional means. I need kryptonite. Batman realizes he needs that kryptonite spear that he had. So instead of going to get that spear and bringing it to where Doomsday was, he decides to lead the Doomsday back to Gotham. Because the docks, or the warehouses, or wherever exactly it is that he was fighting Superman earlier, that whole area is uninhabited. There's no one there. It's all abandoned. So Zack Snyder can have this whole massive destruction pouring and all the buildings falling and rubble everywhere. He can have all of that to his heart's content because it doesn't matter because no one lives there. See, we're thinking, we heard you, the writers are saying, and Zack Snyder's saying, we heard you, audience, so here's all the destruction just with none of the civilian casualties. Aren't we great? No, you're not. I go to a movie to see spectacle, yes, but I don't always want to see buildings getting destroyed by super beings, even if they are super beings fighting. You did it once already, you showed us you could do it, show us something else, please, for Christ's sake. This movie would have been so much better, so much more focused if you took Doomsday out. You take Doomsday out, and all of a sudden Lex's motivations make a little bit more sense. Not a lot. All the problems are still there. But he doesn't look like he wants to destroy the world. Here's how it should have gone down. No Doomsday. Superman goes to confront Lex Luthor after he and Batman finally decide, hey, you know what, we're cool, okay, cool. Superman confronts Lex while Batman is beating the fuck out of the guys at the warehouse. But instead of Doomsday, Lex has his power armor that he is imbued with kryptonite. So that he still stands a chance against Superman in a fight. That's the final conflict. You want a big throwdown? That's what the throwdown should be. And I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? If you take out Doomsday, we lose Wonder Woman. It's kind of true. You do lose Wonder Woman's big scene. And it's a great, wonderful fucking scene. I mean, she's smiling in that fight. She's having fun. She's the only person in this movie who looks like she's having fun. I present to you the following idea. When Superman is battling Lex in Lex's kryptonite-infused power armor, Wonder Woman shows up to save Superman's ass. It's not as epic as it would be with her saving Superman and Batman's asses against Doomsday. But I still think you would have a stronger story, a stronger movie without Doomsday at all. So, yes, have Wonder Woman still come in and save the day, just under different circumstances. I swear to God, just taking Doomsday out clears out a lot of this shit. And I don't care about Death and Return of Superman. I don't care about what sort of things they're maybe setting up with Doomsday for later movies. This, even though it's called Dawn of Justice, it should still be its own really good, self-contained story. And it's not a self-contained story, because we get hints about different metahumans that are out there, like Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg. And we know from something that Lex says at the end, when he's finally gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, when he's finally completely lost it, in a scene that's kind of reminiscent of, let's say, Jim Carrey's Riddler when Riddler's in Arkham Asylum. Actually, his whole performance makes me think of Jim Carrey's Riddler. Take that how you will. But Lex does hint to Batman that there's more to come. And that's cool. I'm fine with that. Something happened to him when he was on Zod's crashed ship, and yeah, okay, I can buy that. But there's still a little bit too much setup. Especially if, as Snyder's saying, they're going to explore the whole Doomsday thing more in later movies. That's too much. That's too much. No, stop. Fuck you. Stop. Explore it in this one. Give me the answers about this superfluous poorly handled character in this one, please. Again, and I've said this a couple of times before, take Doomsday out of this movie, and you have a better movie. You have a more focused movie. It's still a hot mess, don't get me wrong, even without Doomsday, it's still a fucking mess of a movie. But it's a slightly more coherent mess of a movie. Now, I'm still curious to see Justice League. I'm hoping Zack Snyder can pull something out of his ass. I want the studios on his butt to insert a bit more heart, soul, and humanity into it. Even if there's not a lot of humor, give me something that just feels human next time. Please. Because again, while this, I can't necessarily call this bad. I've seen bad. I've seen awful. I mean, this is better than Batman Forever, for Christ's sake. And granted, that bar is kind of low, but still, it's better than that. But it's still not very good either. I'm glad I saw it. You know, I'm quite glad I saw it, because there's a lot of good in here. There's a lot of good shit. Again, Ben Affleck's Batman. Jeremy Irons is Alfred. Gal Gadot's Diana Prince / Wonder Woman. Really good stuff. Some of the ideas in here are great. Some of the ideas that they don't even explore for nearly as long are great. But there's so much wrong here. There's so much bad here. There's so much that just doesn't work or doesn't make sense. This movie had so much potential. Oh well. Anyway, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it gave you some food for thought at least. And I'm out.